Hello, and thank you for joining me today to learn and practice some building blocks for better balance and some stability. Keep in mind, please, that not every movement is good for everybody, so feel free to listen to your body. Skip a movement if you know it's not going to help or if it just doesn't feel right for you. I'll show lots of modifications and hopefully we'll have some fun today. All right. As always in Qigong, especially with balance where that's concerned, we're going to keep the knees soft. And what I mean by that is just a slight bend, a little bounce in them. We're never going to lock the joints because we want that energy to flow. We want there to be a little bit of bounce in the body so that it can constantly adjust if it's needed. So with that said, we can begin. I will demonstrate a lot of different movements today that can help you build up some better stability in the body, better balance. And you don't need to do all of these every day. In fact, it might be too much to attempt to do this video every single day with every single movement. So maybe give a watch first, have a seat, enjoy the video, and then maybe decide which ones you want to pick and choose. You can mix and match. Maybe just take one or two movements and alternate them, rotate them through the week and then maybe switch to something else the week after. So you've got plenty of time to work with this. This video will be on my channel, so yeah, have fun. We'll get started with a little bit of a warm up just to get the body moving, get the energy flowing. The first thing we're going to do is just stand with those feet about hips width or shoulders width apart. And turning through the waist, through the middle, we're just going to let the arms swing around the body, bouncing lightly off the belly and the low back. Great. I'm going to back up here so you can see my whole body. And then if you like, if you want to start moving the feet, you can swivel on the heel, maybe take the toes up into the air if that feels good for you. Great. This is going to open up the hips a little bit. And alternately, if you want a little bit more movement, you can do a full tap of the foot to the side. Great. And this is just going to help pump some energy, some blood flow down into the legs and into the feet. And breathe, of course. Beautiful. You can always begin with this movement. That'll warm up everything very nicely. The other really nice thing about this flow is that it starts to warm up the back as well. It gets some range of motion through the spine and through the back. And as you know, that back strength also helps us to maintain a good posture. And that also helps with balance and fall prevention. Great. Can come to a nice easy stop. That's a really nice one to do. In fact, that movement I do every morning when I wake up, just to wake up the back and the hips. All right. As well as the back, the hips are pretty important as well for our balance and our posture. So we can just rest those hands there on the hips and we can do some little hip circles. Let's open up those muscles. Let's loosen up those hips. Great, you can start with something small. And always feel free to adapt or modify to suit your needs. So you can always go smaller, you can always go slower. Great. You can switch direction. Wonderful. Yeah, so this video is not meant to be a full session like a regular class. You definitely don't want to do this start to finish because it might be too much for the feet, too much for the legs. So like I said, just choose one or two movements that you like best and maybe start there. Great. All right. Relax, shake it out a little bit. You can have a chair nearby to help you with your balance, a wall, that always works as well. We are going to do some ankle circles as well, just to open them up. And here you can hold on to the chair and you can either rest the toe on the floor and start to swirl the ankle. That's level one. You can lift the foot up into the air, give it a little swirl. That's level two. Great. Of course, level three is when you gain that confidence and you take the hand up off the chair. But we'll leave it there for now. This one actually is also easily adapted to sitting in the chair as well. You can do these while you're sitting around, eating dinner, watching TV. These are really nice, these ankle circles. Great. Awesome. Wonderful. Okay, so we're also going to do a little bit of stretching through the ankles, through the feet. And for this one, I'll demonstrate in the chair. Great. So we can prop the foot up onto the heel. And we'll do a little bit with some flexing. So you can pull the toes forward toward you a little bit. And then you can push them away. And this just helps to stretch out the ankle, the feet, and a little bit through the calves. Great. And you'll do that for both feet. Again, really simple. The toes are really essential for gripping the floor or the ground when we walk, and they're also there to propel us forward. So if you want to do some toe exercises as well, you can give them a little stretch, just fanning them out, and then relax the toes and give them a little wiggle. I'll do the same thing with my hands so you can see what I'm doing. And then maybe if you feel comfortable, you can curl the toes under. Give them a little stretch there and release and give them a little wiggle. Great. You can do that on both feet as well. These are really good for when you're just, like I said, sitting around doing nothing at all, maybe reading a book. You can get some good ankle and footwork in there as well. All right. So the other thing we can do for balance, especially using that chair, is we can bring our weight into one leg. So this is going to be our standing leg. We're bringing most of the weight into this one, the left leg. I'll do your mirror image. The right leg is just going to rest here on the ball of the foot. That's what we call the empty leg. It's not really taking much weight. And we'll just do some tapping here. So we can tap to the front, to the side, behind you, and back again. And in between, you can give a little wiggle of your legs just to ease the tension. Great. And do some tapping here. This is really nice for weight shifting. We're building the strength in the standing leg. And we're also strengthening the outer hips here. So you're going to bring a little focus, a little attention to the outer hip. And use that to move. Use it to take the leg away from you. Use that muscle to bring that leg behind you and return. When you go behind, you're also going to use the glutes as well. Great. Simple as that. And if you're on the other side, we'll do the other side for balance. A little tap forward, to the side, behind you, and return. Great. Just tapping on the toes or landing on the ball of the foot. That's a little more stable. And breathe. Wonderful. That's level one, leaving those feet on the floor, holding onto the chair. Level two, if you'd like to progress after maybe a week or two, give it a shot. Maybe bring that foot up into the air all together. Let it hover there. And then Swing it out, swing it to the side, swing it behind you, and relax. And again, we're really using the muscles here, contracting them and building strength. We'll swing slow and controlled. Gorgeous. And of course, balance it out on the other side. Those are some really nice, easy strengthening movements for the lower body. All right. Another really nice thing you can do to encourage the blood flow and to wake up the muscles in your legs and feet is simple tapping. We do this a lot in QiGong. It brings energy to a particular body part. You can do this standing. We can also do it seated. So what I'm going to suggest is we do it seated today, just so you can see what this looks like. And if you're just starting out, this might be more comfortable. So we just warm up the palms of the hands a little bit. Breathe. Bring a little attention here. And then we will simply place the hands on the outsides of the hips and we'll tap nice and light all the way down the outsides of the legs, all the way down to the feet, if that feels comfortable, and then back up the tops or the inside of the legs and around again. Great. Beautiful. All the way down. And this just encourages some beautiful circulation of energy and blood circulation all the way into the legs and the feet. Helps to wake them up a little bit. And again, helps with our end goal. All right. Another really interesting thing you can do to stretch the legs is go ahead and lean against the wall. And then if you can, lift up one knee in toward the chest and give it a little hug, wrapping the hands around the calf here. And just give it a few seconds and then release. Beautiful. Switch to the other side. Great. Lean against that wall for support. Take a few breaths. This is going to stretch out the back of the leg and the glutes a little bit as well. So have a nice little variety of little things you can do around the house, little things you can do every day. All right, let's get into some of the more challenging activities, which is building that strength and balance at the same time. So what we can do, so you can always stand behind the chair completely to do this with both hands on the chair. I'm going to do it on the side though so you can see what it looks like. So simple heel raises. This is going to strengthen those calves and the feet. Just rising up onto the balls of the feet. I wouldn't go any further than this. I wouldn't go all the way onto the toes because you don't want to tip forward. And then simply lowering down. And again, the knees are soft, slightly bent. And we raise up. And we lower. Great. Breathe in. Rise up. Breathe out. It's nice in Qigong. We try to pair the movement with the breath. This brings another layer of coordination and focus. Nice and simple. You can also use those arms for balance. Maybe after you get used to doing that and you start feeling good, start feeling a little confident, maybe inhale, float an arm above the head. Exhale, come on back. Beautiful. Or maybe that arm just goes up about halfway. It's nice. Whenever we bring the arms out to the sides, it does help to add to the balance. Great. And then maybe level 3. Once you get very confident, Maybe inhale, rise up onto the balls of the feet. And exhale, come on back. Simple lift and lower. And you don't even have to come up all the way. So this might be an exaggeration. Or you can just take the heels off the floor just the tiniest bit. Both will have the same results. You'll have strengthening, you'll have conditioning, and you'll have some balance work there. So little movements sometimes are better. They're more comfortable, they're safer, and you'll really get to see your progress. All right. Another really subtle thing you can do, and this also can be easily done around the house, is what we call seaweed, little seaweed flow in QiGong. So we stand with those feet firmly grounded to the floor. Everything's in contact here. The toes, the heels, the balls of the feet. The knees are soft. The arms are just hanging nice and loose at the sides. And like seaweed, we're going to sway a little bit. So the feet will remain in contact with the floor the whole time. And all we're going to do is very, very subtly, very, very small movements. We're going to shift the weight just a little bit forward so that it's more into the toes. The heels are still on the ground. And then shift the weight just the tiniest amount into the heels. Great. And you probably won't notice it right here. It looks like I'm doing nothing but standing. But it's just a very subtle weight shift. Feel a bit of peaceful movement here. It almost feels like you are standing in the sea at the bottom of the ocean. Calm, still. And that water is ever so gently moving your body. It's flowing on the tide. This one definitely takes a little practice. Just letting that body rock a tiny bit forward and a tiny bit back. And when you first start out with this too, you can have the hand resting lightly on a chair, maybe not holding onto it so much that the body doesn't move. Just let it rest there. And let that body sway a little bit. That is going to activate the muscles in the legs. It's going to help continue to let those muscles fire. And it's going to teach the body how to maintain that balance in little amounts, and you can build it up. All right, go ahead and shake it out a little bit. And now we can get into some of the bigger balance movements. These are the bigger flows. Again, we'll do different levels. This first one is a very common movement. I use it in a lot of my classes. It is a rooster stands on one leg. And we're not going to go on one leg immediately, so no worries there. We are simply going to shift the weight again. So we're going to ground down into that right leg, make it nice and strong. Slide the left one over and just rest it lightly on the ball of the foot. So this one, again, it's empty. It's not really taking much weight. Great. And that left arm is going to bend and the fingers point to the sky. The right arm is simply a little bit out to the side just for balance. Great. And both knees are soft. So even the standing leg, the knee is bouncy. Awesome. Piece of cake, right? And then we simply slide over and switch. We lower the arm, bring those legs back to neutral, and shift the weight now into the left leg. Drawing the right one over, and the right arm comes up. Easy. This is level one, keeping those toes, the balls of the feet on the floor, and sliding them over. So the feet are in contact with the floor the whole time. Great. Go. Beautiful. Breathe in as you shift up and breathe out as you switch. Following a nice slow breath will also ensure that we're not rushing through these. Will bring us here in the present moment, mindful, focused. Great. Breathe in, breathe out. Great. Even though you're standing a little taller when you rise up, those knees are still soft. The body is still relaxed. Just lifting through the crown of the head, lifting the spine. Beautiful. Right, so that's level 1. Level 2, when you feel really confident, when you practice this a while, going to lift that toe off the floor. So now we've got a little bit more balance going on. And again, that toe doesn't have to come up very high. We don't need to lift the knee all the way up. Just a touch, so that it's ready there near the floor in case we need to put it back down. Great. Here you can also use the chair. So this is what it would look like. Putting the chair in front of you, coming up, rising up, and then coming down and shifting. And the hand that's not in the sky is holding on to that chair. So many ways you can adapt these movements. Beautiful, right? So that's the rooster. Wonderful. One of my favorites, especially because if you practice it enough, you can really notice your progress. All right, the second one, we call these Tai Chi kicks. Right, and there's the same concept here, different arm movements. We're going to shift into the right leg, slide that left foot over. This time the hands come up through the center, crossing at the wrists in front of the heart. And then as you come back to neutral, you separate the hands, bring them down to the earth. Switch the legs, breathe it in, and breathe it out and switch. Great. This is level 1. Both feet are on the floor. Simply shifting the weight, building that strength. Gorgeous. Level 2, same thing as the rooster. We can take the toe up into the air and then bring it back down. Breathe in, breathe out. Level 3, when you get really confident, is bringing that leg up into the air and then giving a little kick to the front and bringing it back down softly. Breathe in, breathe out. Great. And again, notice how I'm not even kicking that high. That foot is still close to the ground. To help with balance, again, you can back it up against a wall. Just give it a little practice here. You can have that wall at your back for support. Beautiful. That is number 2. The next one is Dragon Waves Hello. This is a fun balance move that involves coordination as well. And it also incorporates the ankle circles that we've done earlier in this video. So what we're going to do is we bring that chair over again. We will ground down into the leg that's closest to the chair here. In this case, it is the left leg. That right leg comes up into the air. And we draw it up. And we make some ankle circles. Great. And with that same hand, can do some wrist spirals as well. This one is meant to be a little more playful and fun. Great. And then you come down and you'll switch to the other side. Great. You can do a few repetitions on one side before switching. There we go. Beautiful. That's for fun. Since you already know what it looks like, I'll show you what it looks like with the whole chair in front of you. You can pick up that leg and maybe try opposites. Bring up the opposite hand and make some circles. Great. This one helps with some beautiful brain-body coordination. Opposites. Very nice. There we go. Beautiful. All right. Some other beautiful flows are inspired by birds. So we're going to do a bit of flying as well. Not what you think. Leaving both feet on the floor. We will simply take a staggered stance. So one foot comes out to the front. Both feet are still about hips width or even shoulders width apart. So they're nice and stable. Those knees are still soft, slight bend. All right. My teacher once described this as make sure your feet look like they're standing on railroad tracks, nice and stable, rather than a tightrope. What you don't want is one foot directly behind the other, because then you don't have much balance, right? Okay, this is more stable. So what we're going to do is simply fly, and with those knees soft, it's going to ensure we can have a little weight shift front to back. Beautiful. And this one involves some beautiful coordination as well with different arm movements. Again, good for the brain. All right, so we'll start out with one hand in the front and one hand to the side. Doesn't matter which one you start with. And we simply fly up almost to the shoulder height, but not quite. We want those shoulders relaxed. And then switch the arms. Great, come up. Arms are soft, just like bird wings. And then to the front. Rolling up, rolling down. And then out to the side, we open. Great. To coordinate the breath, we can breathe in as we lift up. Breathe out, relax. Breathe in. Notice a little weight shift. Breathe out. Breathe in, roll to the front. Breathe out, settle. When we spread our wings, we're going to do the biggest weight shift. Come forward and then settle back in. Great. This is really nice. It's also very peaceful. To help with the arm relaxation, think of leading with the backs of the wrists. Great. And as you come forward, maybe even lift that back heel up, keeping the toe on the floor. Getting ready for takeoff. Great, come on back. Easy as that. And then we switch the legs. Same thing here. Make sure you're nice and grounded, nice and stable before you start on the other side. And we'll simply fly, breathe in, breathe out. Knees are soft. And we might stand a little taller, might sink a little deeper. That body is relaxed. It is flowing. Great. And we can lift that back heel. We'll shift forward. That's level 2. Great. Level 3, if you want to achieve this, if you want to get there, I'll turn a little bit more to the side. When we get to the end and we spread those wings open, you can bring a little bit more weight to the front and then maybe pick that back foot up off the floor ever so gently and come back down. Great. So that's something to work toward, something to build for. All right. What these exercises do is they also work your core strength. So you will be working with that, especially when you lift those legs up. Anytime you lift the legs up, you engage the core. So that's getting nice and strong as well. And your core muscles, when that is strong, it also, again, helps with posture and it helps with groundedness and balance. All right. If you like that, also check out the back video as well, of strengthening and bringing some beautiful mobility to the back muscles in the spine. You can put these hand in hand because they do go together for balance, stability, posture. It all works together to keep us upright and on our feet. So happy practicing and be safe, listen to your body, and have fun. See you soon.